a major bodybuilding and fitness physique championship event taking place next Sunday, October 22nd. We'll be speaking on the phone with one of Singapore's biggest names in bodybuilding over the last 15 years, Kevin Chiak.
Absolutely. Pink, and what about us after the break?
All the music you love. Power 98.
Before we sign off, we do have one last segment as we preview a major event happening next Sunday, 22nd of October.
That's right, Jeremy. And to help tell us more is a man who won several national bodybuilding championships. Plus, he was also Mr. Singapore in 2010. He has since moved into several other projects, including the next event, which we'll be talking about. So let's say hello to one of Singapore's prominent names in bodybuilding, Kevin Chiak. Good afternoon, Kevin, and thanks for speaking to us on Power Sports.
Good afternoon, Raj, and good afternoon, Jeremy, and of course, good afternoon to all Power 98 listeners.
Well, thank you, Kevin. Thank you. Kevin, you founded this organization called the Fitness Movement League about 6 years ago, and this entity promotes more of fitness physique rather than traditional bodybuilding. Perhaps you can start by briefly telling us the main key differences between fitness physique and bodybuilding.
Well, everyone is pretty well acquainted with bodybuilding. Much of it made famous by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Bodybuilding is building up the body to have larger muscles, and this is the more extreme version of our competition. Now, as for physique, fitness physique, it will be the kind of physique that you see on some magazines cover. Fitness models with nice sculpted bodies, and they are of moderate muscle mass. And these fitness physique competitors are quite noticeable as they will be competing in the colorful surfing board shorts instead of the posing trunks that you always see.
All right, then next Sunday, October 22nd at the MES Theatre down the road, you're holding two events on the same day. Let's talk about the first event, which is from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. It's called the FM League National 2017, and it comprises, Kevin, 3 titles on offer, and they are for the Mr. Singapore Championship, followed by the finals in Singapore Fitness and the Model Search as well. Now, can you tell us how many competitors are you expecting? Are they all Singaporean-born athletes? What sort of prizes are they vying for?
Now, we have the nationals every year for the last 5 years. The traditional format is such that the ultimate and number one bodybuilder will win the title of Mr. Singapore. But since then, FM League has evolved the sport in Singapore, and we have created 2 other divisions. So the other 2 champions will be crowned Mr. Singapore Classic and Mr. Singapore Physique accordingly. So summarizing, 3 Mr. Singapores will be crowned on that day. Internationals, we expect about over 80 competitors, and they should be Singaporeans or permanent residents. There will be no cash prizes for the nationals. The cash prizes will be awarded in the Asia round in the next show on the same day.
Right. Now, Kevin, how are the winners in the categories of the Mr. Singapore Classic and Mr. Singapore Physique determined respectively?
In classic physique, competitors are classified by a certain limit of height and weight settings. In doing so, they will not be as muscular as the bodybuilders. The competitors will still require a moderately muscular body coupled with an aesthetic proportional body frame. The champion will be crowned Mr. Singapore Classic. The Mr. Singapore Physique is for the fitness physique. Judges will be looking for fit contestants who display shape and symmetry combined with moderate muscularity and overall conditions. The competitors in this round possess the least amount of muscles out of the 3 divisions. Extreme muscularity will be marked down.
So 3 Mr. Singapore titles will be up for grabs in the Nationals, which is the first show from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the MES Theatre at MediaCorp next Sunday, and 1 hour later in the second show from 4 to 7 p.m. it's the Asia Championships, which includes the Asian Bodybuilding Championship and the Asian Fitness Model Search. Could you explain briefly about this Asian Championship event?
Okay, the genre basically is the same, except that it's extended out to the competitors around the region. The Asia Championship is our regional competition. There will be competitors in bodybuilding and fitness physique categories. Over 70 competitors will be coming from Malaysia, Philippines, Indonesia, South Africa, India, and of course representatives from Singapore. Now, this is an Asia Championship. is based in Asia, so it's not only for Asians, so to speak. So there are a total of $50,000 cash prizes up for grabs, and the top prize to an individual is one lump sum of $10,000, and this sum is the highest ever given out in Singapore.
Wow. 10K US. Now, how can our listeners and fans, Kevin, who might be to attend both these shows next Sunday, where can they get their tickets and how much are they going to be costing?
Okay, now the tickets for both shows are going only at $59, $6, and they are available online at www.globaltickets.sg, or they may also buy it at the door at the entrance of MES Theatre at MediaCorp.
Just a quick note on that first show, which is the Nationals, where 3 of Mr. Singapore titles will be won. What about a category for the women? Or is there a shortage of female local competitors?
Well, I can say that's my favorite category. The ladies will be in a division called the ladies bikini, where they present themselves in a sculpted body shape, but not over muscular. We do not have ladies bodybuilding. In Japan and Korea, ladies are very into this sport. However, in Singapore, the pickup rate is still slow. We hope to see growth in the next 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
Okay. So there is still a possibility, like you said, in the next 2 or 3 years. Well, we certainly wish you the very best for October 22nd, Kevin. But just before you go, and on a somber note, I understand that although you were both competing rivals in this industry, you also knew him as a friend. I'm referring to the late Pradeep Subramaniam, who died less than 3 weeks ago after taking part in the celebrity boxing match held at MBS. The story was widely covered in the local news media following his untimely death, and 32-year-old Pradeep was the president of the World Bodybuilding and Physique Sports Federation, which is a competing organization to your Fitness Movement League. Thus, Kevin, what do you remember most of Pradeep?
Of course, Pradeep is a friend to me. In fact, he's like a bro, right? Now, Pradeep is a very sociable guy. He's got lots of drive and lots of ambition. He's quite a humble chap, but unfortunately, he had to die that way. I think by now everybody knows that athletes in different sports should be trained differently. A weightlifter trained to be strong, a marathon runner to be able to run long distances, a bodybuilder to sculpt his body with muscles in proportion. But a fighter has to be trained to protect himself, to be able to punch well, and also to have enough cardiovascular endurance. It's a contact sport. The name of the game is to basically hurt your opponent to win. So one should not engage in it without proper, long enough training. All that said, we call each other bro, like I said, even though we are competitors in the business, and, he would every now and then call me up for advices. To a certain extent, we are competitors, but otherwise we're still an alliance, I really miss him, I'm going to miss this good competitor and this brother of mine.
I'm sure we all do as well. And on that note, coming back to your event, as you sign off, next Sunday, what is your final message to the listeners to come down and watch the 2 shows on October 22nd?
I think that's a very important message from us since the beginning, right? We wish to use muscle and physics sport as a platform to promote healthier and fitter lifestyle. So, besides that, of course, we have other competitions along the year that is of a lower and novice kind of version of the competitions to enable different people of different standards to compete in it. So, watch out for our next more local level competitions coming up in January. Right, check us out at our website, www.fmleague.co.
Right. On that note, thanks for speaking to us, Kevin, and the best of luck to your shows on Sunday, October 22nd, and have a great weekend, buddy.
That's right. Thanks, Kevin.
Thank you very much, gentlemen, and thank you, Power 98.
Well, thank you. Thank you again, sir. And that was Kevin Chiak, the founder of the Fitness Movement League in Singapore.